The UK must push ahead with Chagos Islands deal before Trump has the chance to overturn it. I'm going to read into this more from Byline Times, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article, or an argument piece, shall we say, from Byline Times, with the headline that the UK must push ahead with the Chagos Islands deal before Trump has the chance to overturn it. The treaty represents a rare victory for international law and the rules-based order that the UK is meant to stand for. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. Yes, the Chagos Islands were never ours. They didn't belong to us. We took them from its people. We allowed the US to build a base on Diego Garcia, and to a certain extent, that island is still going to be held by them. And it's time we started giving the land back to its people. We stole it. There's no ifs or buts about it. And while the UK government have made some compensations and whatnot with the people who have been exiled, it still doesn't change the fact that the islands do not belong to the UK or the US. It belongs to them. We took it from them. Now, there is this argument that you will hear that from the so-called right wing, that GB News and whatnot, they're trying to make this argument that China will come and take the islands, and there's absolutely no basis whatsoever for this. And considering where the island is exactly in the from a geography perspective, I mean, it's literally it's off the east coast, off the east continent of Africa in the Indian Ocean. It's still quite a fair bit out from it, and it's like some people will argue it's a strategic location, and you can argue it's a strategic location, but what's the necessity for having a base there? What's the necessity for it? Why does the US need to have a military base there? I mean, I know that it used to be a UK colony, and obviously the UK's had control of it for quite a long time. But it's 2024. You know, we've long past colonial era. We've long past this establishment that it's not ours, and that the UK should have given it back a long time ago. The US apparently will still have its base apparently on there, which I'm sure the people will not be happy about on Diego Garcia. My understanding is that the Diego Garcia will remain in control of the US and the UK, but it's a step in the right direction. But there's obviously the Trump administration and right-wingers in the UK, such as Nigel Farage, are trying to argue that we can't let this happen, the islands belong to us, blah, 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 sort of thing. And basically they're trying to claim that we're giving things away. And it's really important that the Biden administration and the current Labour government, along with the ruling government, those in the Chagos Islands, basically look to finalise and get this deal kind of sorted before Trump comes in. Because if Trump does come in, he will have an opportunity to overturn it. He will have an opportunity to overturn it. His administration will undo it, just because they can. Anything to kind of bash the Democrats or bash so-called centre lefties or whatever, that's what they'll do, you know. And the islands do not belong to Brits. The islands do not belong to the Americans. It belongs to their people, and that's how it should be. So let's read into this argument piece. So, an agreement in which the United Kingdom will step away from one of its last colonial holdings is unfinished business, and the prospect of the Donald Trump administration overturning it suggests that the UK shouldn't wait to tie up those loose ends. The agreement concerns the Chagos Islands, where the UK allowed the US to open a military base half a century ago on the island of Diego Garcia, in exchange for a secret $14 million payment to the US. The British government also ascended to US officials' wishes to evict the entire indigenous Chagossian people from their homes on the island. Chagossians have lived in exile in distressing conditions ever since. The new agreements turned the islands over to the government of the Indian Ocean nation of Mauritius, whose sovereignty over the islands was recognised by the International Court of Justice back in 2019. So this was all the way back in 2019 where it was recognised. It's taken till 2019 for their sovereignty to be finally recognised. For its part, Mauritius, a former UK colony, agreed to allow Britain to exercise sovereignty rights over Diego Garcia for at least 99 years to allow the continued operation of the US military base on the island. In exchange, the United Kingdom will make annual rent payments and provide other supports to Mauritius. I'm going to mispronounce the name, I do apologise. The two governments further announced that Britain will provide a compensation fund for exiled Chagossians, and that the islanders would be allowed to return to all but one of the islands. To the Chagossians' dismay, the agreement continues to bar them from living on Diego Garcia. Right-wing politicians in the UK and the United States pounce on the Chagos deal as an opportunity to bash the new Labour government and the Biden-Harris administration by suggesting the deal would benefit China because the Chinese government might establish a military or spy presence on other Chagos islands, or Mauritius might somehow give Diego Garcia to the Chinese. Well, if US personnel are going to be in the base, then how would it get into the Chinese hands exactly? Answers on a postcard, please. There is no basis, in fact, for this speculation, but it shows that the UK should urgently finalise things now. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, US President Joe Biden, and Mauritius Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolan should reject the disinformation campaign of Trump allies and quickly complete the Chagos Treaty, which represents a rare, if partial, victory for international law, the decolonisation movement, and the rules-based order that Anglo-Americans officially frequently trumpet. In finalising the treaty, the three governments have an opportunity to correct the glaring problem. In the initial announced deal, barring Chagossians from resettling on Diego Garcia, where most trace their ancestry perpetuates their exile and decades of injustice. Doing so also violates instructions from the International Court of Justice and the UN General Assembly to uphold Chagossians' human rights and assist their resettlement. While the US and UK officials have alongside security concerns to justify Diego Garcia ban, Chagossians could live on the other half of the island, miles from the base, just as civilian populations live near US bases worldwide, even at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. Civilian employees who are neither US or UK civilians already live and work on the Diego Garcia base. Before Trump takes office, Starmer, Biden, and Ramgoolan have an opportunity not just to push back against the rise of anti-democratic authoritarianism, but also offer a powerful, much-needed example of another kind of politics, prioritising human rights and democracy, international law, and the end of colonial rule. They should finalise and improve Chagos Treaty and tell Trump and his allies that the Diego Garcia deal is done. Yeah, as a written argument piece by David Vine there. Just get it done so that Trump can't do anything about it. His administration can't say anything. Once it's all signed in, that's it. They won't, he'll have other priorities, obviously. But if the opportunity is there for the Trump administration to undo it, believe me, they'll take that opportunity. And especially if you've got someone like Nigel Farage hogging the foghorn over us as well. I know these aren't things that can be done quickly, but it's not until the 20th of January until he's in. So there's a period between now and then that they could get something signed in agreement so that it cannot be undone by a Trump administration. They should try to do that as do that. I know I know America's got other things they're trying to get done as well. And I totally understand Biden's rush to get things done before Trump comes in. I totally understand that. But we also don't want to undo what the Chagossian people have been doing for a long time, and that is fighting for the rights for their lands that were always theirs, that they were kicked out of. That's their islands, that's their homes, that's their ancestral place. And Britain and America should have no bearings whatsoever on the islands. I think it's actually quite terrible that they're making the US base remain there permanently as well. I'm trying to figure a way to justify it, but there really isn't. There's just islands out in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Basically the premise is that give it back to its people. I think it's the message I have to say. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of the situation over the Chagos Islands? Do you think if nothing is done between now and the 20th of December, 20th of January, if Joe Biden, Keir Starmer, and the Chagossian Prime Minister don't get it done, do you think that Trump will undo it all? Possibly. Although it's not his list of priorities, can you see him doing something about it? Let me know your thoughts and more on all of this down in the comments section below. If you found this argument piece interesting, please hit the like button, greatly appreciated. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really helps support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.